Recording from Chester County, Pennsylvania, this is Coast to Coast Sports, your weekly breakdown of the Philadelphia Eagles, Los Angeles Rams, and NFL teams from around the league. We're recapping last week, previewing what's ahead, and bringing you all the takes in between.
All right, welcome to our third to last week of Coast to Coast Sports. This episode is sponsored by Restorative Physical Therapy. This is Mike's own practice and rehabilitation in Thorndale, Pennsylvania. One of the only private physical therapy practices in Chester County, offering one-to-one care with licensed physical therapists. This is our first time saying the number,
Okay.
484-378-7987 to book an appointment today. All right, so we'll jump right into it. Corey's Rams had a absolute nail biter. It was the last game of the weekend, which I predicted perfectly. I predicted all four
Did you
games
say
correct.
welcome to Coast Sports? I'm not even sure I heard that.
Yeah, I did.
Just throwing him off right at the beginning.
Throwing me off, Mike. You can't find my trophy. So we will first start with the Rams game, and then we'll kind of go into the predictions and my winnings. So the Rams won in an absolute nail biter, 20-17, I think was the final score. So Corey, I'm going to give you the floor to kind of recap the game, how you see fit, and kind of take us through your emotions because you were ghosting us during the game.
Yeah, I ghosted you. I ghosted everyone who was texting me, the whole Discord server that has all my fantasy football. I wasn't talking to anyone. It started off at such a high with the Rams opening drive, going down and getting a touchdown. And then every drive after that, we just did nothing on offense until the end of the first half where we got the field goal. And somehow, I don't know how, but somehow the Bears had the same score of us as us at the end of the first half. It honestly, I had more angst watching the Panthers game, to be honest, than Chicago. The reason I felt like not as bad as the Chicago game is because I noticed our defense playing really well. The Bears had, I think, two chances in the first half to kick a field goal within like their own 20, and they elected for fourth down to try to go for it. And both times the Rams stopped them. I mean, I don't care if Chicago should have had 6 more points from that. The fact is like every NFL coach nowadays is being that aggressive on fourth down. And a lot of times, I would say more often than not, especially in short yardage situations like the Rams had, they would convert. But the Rams stopped them twice. And I'm like, wow, our defense is actually showing up. Regardless of them, yes, I get it that like it would have probably been better for Chicago just to take the points in those situations. But the fact is, it doesn't take away that the Rams defense stopped the Chicago Bears twice in like 4th-and-1 situations within the red zone. Like that's incredible for any team, regardless of the situation. And it's truly a huge reason why we won. Not only that, but we got that interception in overtime to give the Rams the ball back. At that point, I had to like I was seeing the Seahawks game in my mind all over again when we went into overtime.
Yeah.
Like Chicago has the ball. They're moving it like they're just kind of 5 yards, 4 yards at a time. We're not stopping them. And for some reason, they decided a long pass play, and DJ Moore stopped on the route, and we made an incredible interception. At that point, the game still wasn't won. We still had to go down, which was tough to watch because I just watched all game with the Rams struggling to move the ball. But despite their inefficiencies on offense, there is some good things from our offense. One, we didn't turn the ball over on offense. Like the drives didn't end well, but we protected the ball. And that was a big difference too. It's like Caleb Williams had 3 interceptions. Stafford had 0. The passing yards were almost identical. Like that's the difference. It's like the Bears wouldn't have lost if they didn't have those interceptions. Our rushing was better than the Bears. So like putting our offenses up against each other, you're kind of like, this was easier in hindsight, but I'm like, okay, I felt like the Rams did awful on offense, but like our stats across the board were almost identical to how the Bears did on offense. So I do think weather was a factor, but I think going into the game, all the talk was, oh, the Rams were going to be the only team affected. And I think in reality, it affected both the Rams and the Bears offenses in the end. And you saw drop passes a lot on the Chicago side where they probably would have caught those in more normal weather. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's why it came down to the defenses, and you saw what defense did better today. All season long, the Bears were just praised as like one of the top takeaway defenses in the NFL. They weren't in this game, and the Rams were, and that made the difference in the end. And a big one for the Rams, our special teams didn't screw it up for us for once.
Mhm.
We actually won because of our special teams in the end. So that was my takeaway. It really, like, I didn't text much during the game. It was more so, honestly, just because I was so locked into it. I didn't even have my phone near me.
Mm-hmm.
But I did feel like I didn't feel great about the game going on, but I felt better about it than when we played the Panthers.
Mm.
Love it. Mike, any thoughts, reactions from your end as a
Sure,
non-Rams fan?
sure. So, I mean, coming in, I had a ton of confidence in the Rams. I was like, the Rams are going to win this game, I think, I personally thought they'd win by at least 10 points. Felt the same about the Panthers game. The Rams, to me, this game was like actually being in a game where it's not the Eagles, but I'm pulling for the team, right? So I was cheering for a close game ultimately, but I wanted the
Same.
Rams to win. It felt like an Eagles game from most of this year, actually.
Yeah.
They start off pretty good, go score a touchdown. They then do nothing for two straight quarters. The
Yeah.
offense is not just ineffective, it's actually somewhat ugly. There were parts that were just ugly. It was like
Hmm.
some of Stafford was missing guys. I think they were getting pressure on him, took a couple sacks. You saw
Hmm.
all that stuff. And the defense is playing bend, don't break, which is exactly what the Rams D did, I feel like, all game. They would bend all the way down to their own whatever. Bears would go for a fourth and short, not get it. Bears had what? They had the fourth and sixth, or in the
They
first
had
drive, they
they
threw the
had
pick
three
on.
chances.
Then they had
They
a
could have
fourth and one, two drives later. They had a fourth and one again late in the game, or fourth and whatever. They had
if this
multiple fourth downs
if
that they
this
could.
was 10 years ago, the Rams would have lost because the Bears would have had
Bears would have
nine more
kicked.
points.
Yes. So it in that way, I would argue the Rams got outplayed. The Bears actually, I think, outplayed the Rams in the sense of if you just felt the game, the Bears were very consistent in going down the field, consistent in moving the ball. They had some punts, obviously, but the Bears didn't have what the Rams had, which was this like stall of. I mean, I'm looking at it now. It was
It was the
literally,
whole first half.
yeah.
I
I mean,
mean,
they
the
went
the only
three
drives we
plays,
didn't
six
have
yards.
problems is the first drive and the last drive. Outside of that, we
Yes,
did nothing.
yes. Three plays, 6 yards, six plays, 17 yards, four plays, -7 yards. And then they got a field goal in the half. Then they opened the second half with 5 plays, 19 yards, three plays, 7 yards, three plays, 0 yards.
Yeah.
So in the span of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drives, they had one that actually did anything out of the seven. And that one drive got them a field goal.
I
Right.
think that's what's scary about playing with the Rams, though, because if you look at the stats in the end, all the numbers are similar between the Bears and the Rams. And I think what's scary is like, yeah, you can go all game long, pretty much holding the Rams to these
Sure.
small little drives, but then out of nowhere, McVay finds something, and then they go
Sure.
down
I
the
mean,
field.
the Bears outgained the Rams by 50 yards. They had the ball for 7 more minutes, so they won
Hmm.
the time of possession. And they dominated third down conversion efficiency. They were 9 of 19 compared to
Hmm.
5 of 16. So they won those measures, not like that significantly. At the end
Yeah,
of the day, though, it was the turnovers, right? I mean,
yeah,
they turned it over 3 times, and they also had two fourth down conversions that didn't.
right.
Uh, so that was 5 turnovers ultimately.
Yeah.
Well, was it 5 turnovers? Yeah, because there were two fourth downs they went for that were fourth and short. I guess what's interesting is, and I don't take credit away, Corey, from the Rams defense getting stops. It's just when you saw in the overtime, when the Rams on 4th and 1 decided to just do a QB sneak. You're like, that's all they had to do. Like the whole like they had two different 4th downs where it was 4th and 1, or there was a 4th and 1 they couldn't convert, and there was a 3rd and 1, but they ended up punting it. And if both of those they do a QB sneak, I think it was really hard to defend whether you call it a touch push or QB sneak. Whereas they were trying to run the ball, and you give the Rams credit, they stopped it. But you're like, if the Bears just did the little QB sneak, I think they would have converted pretty easily. And then it could be a different game at that point. I guess my perspective of the Rams now is a little bit. See, matchups are interesting because, like, the way they match up with the Seahawks this year, I think will be fascinating compared to how they match up with the Bears. I guess what concerns me now is I just don't take the Bears defense that seriously. Like, they haven't been that good, and maybe they are better than we thought. I'm just like I seeing what the Rams did offensively. What the Bears defense did is, or sorry, what the Rams defense did is what I expected. I was like, okay, this is what I expect. They kind of bent, right? They would let them down the field, but then they wouldn't break. That's what the Rams have been a lot of the year. Get burned on some passes, but like not to the point where it absolutely destroys you. You give up 17 points. The offense was really surprising. Like Devontae Adams had 2 catches the whole game. He was basically a non-factor. Puka basically had 2 catches until like the 4th quarter. I was like, dude, wait, the passing doesn't exist.
I watched the post-game press conferences for both McVay and Stafford.
Yeah.
McVay literally said he just did bad coaching this game, and somehow they still walked away with the win. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, dude, Stafford's completion percentage was less than 50%. Yep. There's a point late in the 3rd quarter, Corey, where I was like, this feels like the Eagles and Jalen. This just feels like this is what the Eagles have done all year long, where it's like we're just sitting there like, dude, Jalen can't even complete a pass.
Yeah. I guess like I never had that because the difference between like the Eagles and the Rams is you guys watch the Eagles do that every single game all season long. For me, I'm like, okay, the Rams, even last week versus the Panthers, they didn't look like this. I'm like, okay, they're having a fluke of a game. Every single team has a fluke of the game. You hope those don't happen during the playoffs. But the fact is, like, we didn't have our best offensive performance of the year, and we still were able to win. Yeah. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. And not every team is going to have their best performance every single game. What matters is collectively as a team, you still find a way to win. And I think that's what the Rams showed. Is like, okay, our offense didn't fire on all cylinders tonight, but our special teams didn't give up any big plays, and our defense made stops when it mattered the most. Sure. Most of the season, we've been able to rely on our offense just to make up for special team blunders and defensive blunders, but it was a little bit of the other way around tonight or yesterday.
Sure. The one other thought, and then Ryan, I want to hear from you, is I was thinking about it. I was like, when's the last time the Rams had like, again, because so much of this is trend, Corey, right? Like, I agree with you that, like, especially in the playoffs, at some point, it's like you just have to win. But, like, I was arguing that for the Eagles, like, late in the season. I'm like, dude, I mean, they beat the Raiders and Commanders. But I was like, dude, they're winning. They're pulling out these games. But, like, when the trend sticks long enough, eventually you're like, should I be, in the words of Brian Moore, trusting my eyes? Well, they squeeze out wins against the Bears and Panthers. I mean, unless your respect grew for the Bears, my respect grew for their defense in that game to an extent. Like, they looked pretty good. I still just never really took the Bears that seriously all year. So if I'm sticking to that, I'm like, I didn't take the Panthers that seriously. I didn't take the Bears that seriously. You guys barely squeak out victories against both of them. You're losing to the Cardinals midway through the 3rd quarter at home in the last game, and you lose to the Falcons and Seahawks in back-to-back weeks before that. Your last quality win would have been versus the Lions on December 14th. You won by a touchdown there. And I don't, you know what I mean? So I guess, like,
it doesn't concern me.
Where's the last big, like, cool, the Rams just dominated? I just haven't, like, their last dominant win was against the Cardinals in Arizona, which they did. They totally owned them. That was December 7th, 45-17. They ran all over them. Defense looked good. It was a complete game, like, coming off the loss to the Panthers. It's more this, Corey. If they were to go into Seattle and lose by 14, people are going to then say what I just said. They're going to be like, well, look at the trend over the last 6 games. They didn't really dominate anybody. They squeaked by in their wins. and they choked in their losses. So, we should all see that coming. That's more what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't. I think the thing that I hold on to right now is we're finding ways to win. Yes, we've had those losses, but even in those losses, our production is still there. Our stats are still there. Our plays are still there. Things just aren't falling our way in those losses, especially later in the season. It's like when we lost to the Seahawks in overtime, like one play could have sent it the other way.
True. Very true.
And that's been the Rams all season. That seems like it's just part of our identity.
Yeah.
Like last season, the Eagles just dominated every game. Like you would expect nothing less. The only team that came close, as you guys know, was the Rams in the playoffs. But other than that,
Yeah.
the Eagles just dominated all season long.
Yes.
They were truly, by a good margin, the best team in the NFL. The
Sure.
Rams, I think, are the best team in the NFL, but I don't think it's quite like the dominating margin like you guys experienced with the Eagles
Sure.
last year.
Sure.
Fact is, like, we are having good offensive performances. A lot of the season that ended up in a win, but near the end, it didn't. And there's a lot of circumstances that probably could explain away that we've talked about on this podcast. Just like losing to the Seahawks was a huge blow that affected, I think, the games following it. But the fact is, we're in the playoffs. We've won 2 in a row.
Yeah. You're back to Seattle.
And yeah, we're back to Seattle, and we have a chance to redeem ourselves. And
yeah. People are going to incorrectly look at the Seattle win, which, by the way, I don't even think Seattle's offense was that. Like, people think their offense was impressive. They really weren't, but we can get into that. They're going to look at the Seattle win and how dominant that was and look at the Bears' struggle, and they're going to be like, Seattle's about to wipe the floor with them. And I think that's totally false.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a really close game down to the wire.
Yeah.
Like,
especially with Chardonnay out now.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, they have
and how Darnold plays against the Rams.
Yeah.
That's the thing. He turns into a pumpkin, so that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
And I mean, regardless of the Rams, Seahawks, whatever, whenever you have a divisional matchup in the playoffs, it tends to be a close game just because of the familiarity between the teams.
Yep.
You hope it is. Like, I'm sure you both hope that it's not a blowout either way, just to see a good game.
Oh, yeah, that's what we want. I want overtime.
As a Rams fan, I would like a little less intensity.
OT, baby. OT again.
Corey, quick side question for you. Tell me your reaction and how you felt in that 4th down 50-yard throw that was actually 20 yards. Caleb Williams 4th down caught by the tight end.
My heart dropped into my butt.
Yeah. I literally was watching it and my actual like mouth I'm like,
of course. Stafford explained it well after the game. He's like, when you're playing a halfway decent quarterback, it's just sometimes they figure out how to make the play. It doesn't matter how good your defense is. Like, they just figure it out sometimes. And I think that was us witnessing that. We've seen it with all the great quarterbacks. It's just like, how do they do it? We even saw it with Stafford with that pass to Devontae on the sideline.
That was sick.
Like,
and
you couldn't
in overtime.
It's like how is a defense supposed to defend that? Like, there's just at some point during the game. Yeah, at some point during the game, it's like the offense is just gonna have the advantage, especially in today's NFL that has rules that favor the offense. So, I mean, it was a high moment at first because I'm like, oh yeah, like we're gonna sack him back at 50, game's over, and then he trucks it up, and even at that point, I'm like, he's just like throwing it up there and praying it's just going to be like 10 guys in the end zone going for it almost like a Hail Mary. And then I'm like looking at commit. I was like,
just standing there by himself.
Where's our quarter? It's like,
I was like, what is happening?
They're acting like commit pushed off, and like it wasn't a push off at all. Like they just separated. I'm like, this is
all. Everyone remember Caleb Williams' 2 passes before that were both horrible, right? So he completes the pass. They have like 2nd and 4. You're like, all right, simple. The guy does an out route to the right. He just misses it. And he just throws bullets. Like Ryan, you said it in the text. You're like, he just rips it at command. Like he's 4 yards away from him. He just throws it like that's Caleb's problem.
The man has no off button.
No off button. So he rips it, misses the guy. You're like, that should have been 1st down. Then 3rd down, just rips the ball over. I think it was Moore or Doomsday's head in the end zone. You're like, okay, that's a waste of a throw. Now it's fourth down. And at that point, I did want to see overtime. I was like, overtime would be so fun right now. So then it's fourth down. I'm like, dude, Caleb's a bum. Dude's a bum. Takes the snap, starts running backwards. And literally, I said audibly, I'm like, he's a bum. He's a bum. Game's over. And next thing I know, the ball's key for a touchdown. I was like, I don't even know what to say. This is
Yeah.
like
So
Yeah.
ridiculous.
you want to know what I thought at that point too, which I'm so surprised didn't happen. I was like, they're gonna go for two and win the game.
Yeah. I thought Ben
Yeah.
Johnson would.
So they had I don't know why. It's like they were so aggressive all game long.
He's
They
getting
wouldn't
ripped
have
for
gotten
that
it.
call.
Corey, they wouldn't have gotten it.
You don't think
that's
so?
not a thing that's going the Bears' way.
They've
actually
been
Not in
good
that
because
game.
but they
that
have
game, yeah.
they're never gonna have as much momentum as they did at that point. And after watching, like the Rams started moving the ball at the end of the game. Like you could tell McVay was starting to get a little bit of an answer to the defense
until
that
they
was
went 3-and-out on 3 runs in the overtime.
They
I was
did.
like, what are they doing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
dude,
other
that
than
was
that, they were
crazy.
moving the ball though near the end of the game. So it's like, why didn't you go for like
Yeah.
you
I mean,
had to have thought that would have been the better option than to go into the overtime with the Rams.
I mean,
When the Bears, go ahead, Ryan.
I think Ben Johnson I think that was a great move. Like he literally played he didn't go for two. Rams got the ball, instantly punted. He had 10 yards to get and for the win. That's it. Caleb had the cleanest pocket ever and he gets 10 more yards. They attempt a field goal. Yeah, for sure they couldn't make it. But like I thought it was playing out perfectly for the Bears to win in overtime. And it was until Caleb just launched it to the Rams.
When he dropped back and had that clean pocket, it was actually the first moment I thought, oh, the Bears could win this game. Like I'm not kidding you. The whole time I was like, Rams are gonna win. Like Rams are gonna find a way to win.
Yeah.
The Bears this just isn't a game they're gonna win. Even when they were outplaying them through a lot of the game, I was like, the Bears aren't gonna win this game. And then he dropped back. He has a clean pocket. And I actually thought
the cleanest pocket I've ever seen.
I thought he might just run.
Yeah,
get 10
and he
more
hurt
yards,
us earlier in the game with that too.
He did. Dude, on that drive, I think he picked up the first down.
That 3rd and 5
crazy
was so
run.
good.
He's so fast.
Yeah, and that was in the beginning of that
so
drive
fast.
too. And I'm like, at that point, I'm like, the Rams can get a nice stop here, get the ball back, get another chance, and then he runs it for what, like 20 yards or something like that.
Yeah. So when he heaved the ball and it was picked, then I was like, okay, well, but there was a moment he had the clean pocket. And I was like, if he ran this right now for 15 yards, it's game's over.
Yeah. And like I have two quick takeaways for this game, and then we'll jump to the next session. But one, I legit think Caleb Williams is the most box office TV watch possible in the NFL outside of Josh Allen. One, because I'm not saying Caleb Williams is the best quarterback, not even close. You literally have no idea what is going to happen every single play. He could have the greatest play you could ever see, or have the worst possible throw and the worst mechanics. And like totally agree. Like the Bears would get to a 3rd and 1, and then they just wouldn't be able to convert it, and they would have to punt, go 4th and 1. Rams stop them. But nuts. I could not take my eyes off of Caleb Williams, and it was like that way last week against the Packers, and for like honestly the whole year, because I couldn't imagine being a fan of that team. I wouldn't know if I love him or hate him, but the Bears fans I follow online adore him. They're just like who else have they had to root for, right? Mitch Trubisky or like boring vanilla Caleb Williams. Like he is box office, and I saw something online. It was like you can't expect to win from Caleb Williams with a perfect pocket. You have to have him run.
To be disrupted.
Yeah, have to run backwards,
under pressure.
throw sidearm.
Yeah, so defense is next year.
Like, yo, don't pressure it.
Yeah, defense is next year. They're gonna rush 3 all game long and just drop the rest.
I know. Literally, I was like,
good work.
When he dropped back in that pocket, I was like, oh my gosh, the Bears need 10 yards. And then he launches it, and DJ Moore like doesn't fully run the route or whatever it is, and the Rams guy makes an awesome play.
It's so confusing.
And the stuff I saw about DJ is like he literally just stopped running. Like he just gave up on the route.
It's almost like he didn't believe the ball was coming his way.
Yes. It was an A.J. Brown route.
Everyone
was such an A.J. Brown move.
Such an A.J. Brown route. And then my second takeaway is I agree. Corey sent a text this, but the Rams defense won that game. Obviously, Stafford had that amazing throw to Adams, but the Rams offense always wins the games. And their special teams blows it, and the Rams offense wins it. But the special teams did their job, and like their defense on that 3rd and 1, that 4th and 1. Do you guys remember that play where DeAndre? It was like it was right before they they got stopped with like 2 minutes left. DeAndre Swift ran, and then he got like
Mm.
airborne,
Yes.
right? So
Mhm.
I watched that play. Like I slowed it down. It was almost a perfect play call. It literally was blocked perfectly, but Rome's Aduze, whatever his name is,
Mm.
completely whiffed, or the cornerback from the Rams just completely like juked him out almost, and then
Yep.
he's the one that made that contact with Swift. I was like, this is a perfect play call. So like the
Yeah.
Rams players made awesome plays in big moments for the team,
Mm.
and
Yeah, that
yeah,
was my takeaway too. Is like the
huge
Rams made the
moments.
defensive plays when it mattered the most.
Yeah. All right, perfect.
Yep.
I know we have a couple minutes. Any last thoughts kind of on the Rams game, Caleb Williams being box office,
You guys see that the Rams had hot chocolate on the sideline?
and like chicken broth?
Chicken
Yeah,
noodle,
chicken broth.
noodle soup, bro.
I
That
was
was so
thinking
funny.
like I mean, you both are athletes. Like, I could never have a cup of hot chocolate during
Oh
during a
my gosh,
game.
yeah. It would make me just have to pee. Like
Yeah.
I was rooting for the Rams, but as the game went on, I loved the environment at Soldier Field. Like watching that
Oh yeah, they
a
were
playoff
hyped.
game there, it made me like Chicago is such a great sports town, and the Bears have sucked for like
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
whole life, I feel like. And it
Yeah.
was so cool to see
It was
the
cool.
fans. I don't know, like it was such a good football moment. So,
Yeah.
Corey, I wasn't like I was rooting for the Bears, but
No, I
I
get it.
literally was like if they kick this winning field goal and to see the crowd reaction, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
agree. And just appreciating it as a sports fan, especially because
Yep.
Chicago Bears' future is kind of up in the air right now of where they're going to be.
Yeah.
It was cool to see
Yeah.
for sure.
Exactly. All right.
That was the type of game where if we were all like in our 60s and like had the time and the resources, I'd be like, dude, let's just go to the game.
Oh, let's
Yeah.
go. Yeah, Mike,
Like,
I totally agree.
let's just fly to Chicago, get a hotel, go to the game, fly home the next day.
Mhm.
Like it'd be such a no-brainer if
Oh
you
yeah,
have
because
you just have to
just
have the time
having
and the
that
resources.
environment, yeah,
Such a
But
good
I feel
football
like at some point in
experience.
life, I would just want to do that like every year. Like even
yeah.
if the Eagles
Yeah.
weren't in it, I'd be like, all right, what's the playoff game I want to go to?
Next
Yeah.
year, the Rams play in, I think, Australia. You want to do that?
Oh
Just a
my
little
gosh.
overnight
Oh my
game.
gosh, dude. 3-week vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring more fun to your rounds with Birdie Board, the golf app designed for matches with friends. Choose the format you love: stroke play, match play, Stableford, with or without teams, handicaps or not. Invite your friends, and Birdie Board does the rest. Just enter your score and focus on the fun, while we keep track of everything, including stats like lowest score and worst hole. Download Birdie Board today on the App Store or Google Play, and let the games begin.
All right, welcome back to Coast to Coast. We just recapped the Rams' thrilling victory against my favorite player, Caleb Williams. So yeah, so obviously there was 4 games this past weekend. I found my trophy, and I wanted to kind of highlight this. So I have officially won the prediction pool
Okay.
for
Can we
Eagles,
do a round of
Rams,
applause for him?
and
Yeah, right.
yes, and the playoffs. I'll be honest, I just winged the playoff picks. And I just picked the favorites, so I don't really give myself too much
I
credit. But
honestly just picked the opposite of you just to give
yeah, I
myself
know.
a chance.
I know. It's funny because I usually always have money or something on the line, and that weighs it. But I have nothing on the line for this. But I think because we talk about it every week, it makes me want to win more.
You wanted to win, yeah. It's the
Yes.
pride of it, and it's forever going to be recorded in the
Yes.
first ever
Yep.
Coast to Coast podcast.
Exactly. So I accept this in a non-humble way, and I am very proud of myself. So go me.
Can we talk about the
This is the
details of
world's
that
smallest
trophy
violin.
real quick?
Right.
Where'd you get
So, Ryan.
that trophy again?
This is actually a league trophy I won when
Yeah.
I tried in fantasy football back in 2023 in Gandalf's Dynasty, which is Corey and I's league. So let it be said, when I put my mind to something, I get the
That's
dub.
that.
Okay.
So
The
what
dub.
happened the following 2 seasons in Gandalf's
Oh,
Dynasty?
We're not talking about that. We're
Okay.
going to move forward.
All
right.
right. You are the host. You take control.
Yes. This is mine. All right. So other 3 games. I'm pulling it up real quick. So we had Niners Seahawks. There's not really much to cover on that. I'm just kind of going over the score. 41-6. I think the Niners injuries kind of got to them, and Seahawks did look very good. I do agree with Mike. I'm not sure how much their offense looked great. I think people may overestimating them against the Rams, but we'll get into that. Then it was Patriots versus Texans. I think if the Texans had any other quarterback, they might have won that game. I think Stroud had 4 picks before in the
in the
first
first half.
in the
He
first
did.
half.
Yeah.
Their O-line was atrocious, though.
Yes, their O-line
They
was
had one
atrocious.
guy out, another guy got hurt, so he was
Yeah,
pressured within
He
3
had a
seconds.
quarterback rating of 28. I mean, that's
yeah.
impressive.
Terrible.
Um, yeah. So the game I really want to focus on looking back before we kind of look to the conference championship games is the Broncos versus the Bills. This was, if not as good as the Rams Bears, if not better, just because it was more scoring. But box office, Josh Allen had some people say a good game, some people say a bad game based on how much he turned the ball over. Um, There was a big controversial call with Brandon Cooks on the catch that was determined an interception. I know people have two different opinions about it. And then also after the game, Drew Lock, their quarterback, out of nowhere was like, "Yeah, he's out for the rest of the year. He fractured a bone in his foot or something like that." So, one, I want to hear from you guys. Do you think that Brandon Cooks was that a catch or an INT in your estimation? I know it was ruled INT. And then, how would you feel as kind of a Broncos fan knowing you just won this amazing game, but your quarterback is out? Do you think this is similar to the Eagles in 2017, or is it way different? Jarrett Stidham, I think, is the new quarterback.
Yeah.
But Mike, so we're actually going to start with you. Start with the catch from Brandon Cooks, and then
Sure.
kind of talk about the Broncos.
First off, I'd like to give the sentiment that the refs always add drama to games, which is actually
Mm-hmm. Great
makes
point.
people want to watch. But
Yes.
I don't think it's worth losing the integrity of making sure that you get the right call. And so
Okay.
I do think I hope, I don't think this is necessarily going to happen anytime soon. I hope there's a movement towards some form of AI making calls on penalties, calls like that at the end of the game, whether something's a catch or an interception. There's obviously been so many challenges with that. AI maybe would call a holding call on every single play because there's all these holdings. They would have to develop the system and teach the players, like, hey, this is going to get called every time. You cannot do this. And it would definitely be a big experiment. I think there's been enough missed calls like this year, and maybe social media has increased our awareness of it. There's just been enough calls that have been missed, and there's always missed calls every season. It feels like there's so many, and there will probably, I mean, we're probably going to see more come, unfortunately, in the championship and the Super Bowl. I think that shift needs to happen away from referees. So people could disagree with that. If it's my team in a championship or a Super Bowl, I would rather the right call get made than have refs, which I don't know. People love the drama of refs and all that. When I initially saw the play, I was like, I actually was like, okay, I don't. It's like 50-50 in my mind. I think here was why, and here's the challenge. No matter what photos you look at, you can't tell how much control of the ball. It's hard to tell. Not that you can't. Hard to tell how much control the ball Cooks had. Remember, he beat the guy on the route. Ball was underthrown. He had to go back to get the ball with the defender right there. Ball is moving in his arms as he goes to hit the ground. Everyone sees the photo where he's sideways on the ground, but you can't see the ball and how much control of it he has. And even a photo, in my opinion, doesn't give complete. So if the call on the field had been a catch, I think they would have kept it. They would have kept it a catch. Because it was not, and they returned it as an interception, their argument was there's not enough evidence of how much control he had of the ball while everything's in motion and happening. I still think the correct ultimate call was that he caught the ball. I think he had the ball. I think he had enough possession of it that it should have been Bill's ball, and they would have won the game. I think that was ultimately would have been the correct call. I don't really blame the refs with the call they made on the field and sticking with it based on just, again, that whole aspect. Not Not did he hit the ground, not did he have the ball like within his arms. Of course, we knew all of that. How much of a possession of it did he really have prior to it leading to the Broncos getting it?
Hmm.
I'll leave it at that. I want to hear from you guys.
Great explanation. Core?
So I'm not going to go to my grave on this argument, but I do think I lean more that it was an interception than a catch.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it is kind of similar to what Mike was saying, where like these guys were catching the ball at the same time, and usually 50-50 balls go to the offense. But in those arguments, they're 50-50 and they're both still fighting over the ball at the ground. So up until the point of a catch, 50-50, 50-50 to the ground. And it's not like they were on the ground for 1 second and fighting. It was like instantaneous, and then they roll, and then the defender comes up with the ball. So if Cooks truly had control of that catch, he wouldn't have hit the ground and the defender would have came up with the ball. They would have hit the ground and they would have both been holding onto the ball, fighting over it, and then it would have gone Cook's way.
Mm,
But the fact is, like, just the fact that the defender kind of came up with it in that split second of catching the ball. I mean, it wasn't even a split second. It was like a quarter of a second or less than that. Like it happened
Mm-hmm.
so fast in real time is
mm,
kind of indicative that Cooks didn't truly have full control of the ball. Otherwise, they would have been fighting over it on the ground.
interesting. That is an interesting
So
thought.
that's just kind of my thought that I think in real time, and the fact that there wasn't any fighting over it is kind of enough to convince me that it actually was the right call in the field.
Mm. Yeah, no, and to Mike's first point, it's crazy how these calls just change trajectories of franchises and people's
Mm,
jobs. Like let's say if Brandon Cooks gets that call, right? They have a 25-yard field goal at the least. I think we all can assume that they make that. They
yeah,
then would be
totally.
the favorites against the Patriots. I have
In New
Yeah.
no
England.
doubt to win. The
Yep.
Patriots did not impress me. This is the
Yeah.
Buffalo's easiest pass, but no, it's like it was the interception. Then the Bills end up losing. They get 65 yards of PI penalties called against them, and then Sean McDermott loses his job.
Which some of those PIs were bogus too, dude.
They
I mean,
were. Yeah.
Oh my
that
gosh,
first
yeah,
PI, I'm like, what
yeah,
kind of call is that? They did not call that all game. In
yeah.
fact, it was worse than that they didn't call. So
And I I think Corey's made good points. I think Mike, you made good points. You guys obviously know where I stand with what I texted out.
Yeah.
This play fires me up. I'll take a different approach. I think the way that this has been called, and I looked at this, Rashid Rice last year against the Bills in the playoffs. The It was almost the exact opposite play where the
mm,
Buffalo defender grabs the ball first. Rashid Rice has like one arm on it, and they both come down with it, and they give the ball to Rashid Rice as an
mm,
offensive catch. And in every sport, including the NFL, it favors the offense. And I
mm,
think at worst you would say, hey, that's a 50-50 call. How on
mm,
earth would that be a defensive catch when it's that close, when it's that 50-50? And I always have an issue when like Brandon Cooks is the one, right, who jumps up, catches the ball. The defender's not even in the play. If Brandon Cooks
yeah,
wasn't there, the ball would hit the ground. He then brings the ball down, and the defender's arms in there, yes, but does he have anything close to possession? No, his arms may be touching the ball at
yeah,
best. And it's
yeah,
it's it's almost like pressing against Brandon Cooks. And then Brandon Cooks' body maintains the ball and then he rips it out. Yes. I was like, to make that call against and one, I was rooting for the Bills, even though I picked the
yeah,
Broncos.
yeah.
I wanted to see Josh Allen. I love Josh
Yeah,
Allen.
I did too.
I love
Yeah.
Sean McDermott. I think they're both I just wanted to see them succeed, so that added in. But I think how that has been called for years, I've never seen it favored in a defensive player
Yeah,
side. And to have it favored in that type of moment was insane to me. And
yeah,
I'm having a hard time moving on from it. But I do agree with Corey's points. And I do agree, like whatever the call in the field was, like
yeah. You
it's hard
usually
to
go with
overturn
that
that.
if it's 50-50.
Yeah,
Do you remember, Ryan, like, was the Rashid Rice against the Bills,
against
was
the
that
Bills.
called on the field an offensive catch? Or was that called on the field? You know?
I think it was called offensive catch.
So like a lot of times when it's a 50-50 ball like that, they tend to stick with what the call on the field is.
Yeah.
But I agree. I don't know if you guys remember. This is going way back. 2014 season, opening night, Thursday night in Seattle. Seahawks had just beaten the Broncos, just destroyed them in the Super Bowl. They're coming to start the season. They host the Packers. Hail Mary from Russell Wilson to end the game. Packers are going to knock off the Seahawks in Seattle to open the season. And I don't know if it was Lockett, one of the Seahawks receivers gets his arm just in between the Packers. The Packers defender has the ball like this in the end zone.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I remember that.
Lockett has his arm in there, and they call it a catch. And we're like, that is the most bogus call I've ever seen. And they upheld it. They stayed with the call on the field.
And like going from that, I don't know, it was years
unreal.
ago, to this, I literally, I could not wrap my head around it.
I think the biggest difference that stands out with all these examples that you guys are talking about is they're still fighting over it like on the ground. Like they both have their arms around the football. But like when they hit the ground in this game, Cooks didn't have his arms around the football anymore, which was indicative of him just rolling and then the defender hopping up with the ball. Like it was so instantaneous. It's not like you can even make the argument that like they were on the ground for a second and then he rolled up. Like it was an instantaneous moment where they both hit the ground and the defender came up with the ball instantaneously. There was no fighting over it. There was not, I wouldn't even say it was a 50-50 thing because they're like Cooks almost looked like he gave up the ball. Like he didn't hold on to the ball. All Cooks had to do is just keep it in his arms and they would have given him the 50-50 ball just like we've seen.
Which proves lack of control. It does
exactly.
prove lack of control,
yeah.
I think. So, and just going back to the one-handed BS needs to end. If a receiver has one hand on it and a defender has it like this against his body, it's a freaking interception.
That happened last year against the Bills.
They should be able to quantify how much of the ball somebody has. If someone has it like this and the guy has one arm in there,
and another issue is like, my gosh, the ref in the NFL, we will have like an 8-minute break if it's 2nd and 6 and they gain 2 yards. And it's like, oh, they actually gained 3 yards. It's actually 3rd and 3 instead of 3rd and 2. We'll have a 20-minute break. But for this unreal play that changes seasons, there's no replay. There's no nothing. Sean McDermott has to call a timeout, waste a timeout.
Just to get them to look at it.
To get to hopefully look at it. Like, what are we doing?
That is
insane.
They definitely should have looked at it a little bit more. And there's been times where the refs have done that and they come back and they actually explain like in detail, like maybe they explain to like I did, like, okay, they came down at the same time. The fact that they weren't fighting over it right when they did it, like that would have at least helped us understand where they were at. And we've seen refs do stuff like that before and it helps a lot. But yeah, you're right. Like we see like them spend 20 minutes on like adjusting the ball 1 yard in like the beginning of the second quarter. And it was like 2nd and 10 versus 3rd and 8, like at meaningless moments. Yeah.
That's my point.
What's going to happen is, dude, AI is going to start making all the calls instead of refs. And then after games, people are going to go and argue with AI over the call. They're going to be like, why'd you call this? And
they're going to be like, ChatGPT is so much more accurate than Claude. Bring Claude in.
Yeah.
Gemini.
Gemini.
Gemini said it was I think Gemini and something else said it was a catch, and then something else said
that can make it bad though, because you could have different AI versions arguing against each other,
and then everyone's going to have their opinion of which AI is better.
Oh, dude. Honestly,
and honestly, it's going to be no different than what we have today.
It might not make a difference, honestly.
Yeah, and I think this is great for the NFL, like this drama and this speculation, and you have people on both sides that are adamant, like former players and coaches that are coming out being like, that was a catch, and other ones like, no, it's an interception. So I will say, like, I'm definitely still thinking it was a catch, but I will say it's definitely like it's pretty even on like, I don't know, the different sides.
Yeah.
But I think the matchup is terrible for the NFL. Dude, having Josh Allen in New England for the AFC Championship and getting the 2 divisional matchups of Rams Seahawks rematch, and that would be an epic Sunday AFC. Now it's like Pats.
Yeah, the AFC Championship doesn't seem like it's going to matter.
Who wants to watch that?
I'm skipping the AFC.
I will not watch a single moment of that. And if it was Josh Allen in New England, I would watch it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd watch every
I'd be
play.
so in for that.
Did you guys
Yeah.
see Josh Allen's
shame.
interview after the game?
Broke my heart, dude.
Yeah, heartbreaking, man. Seeing him.
Broke my heart. All right, let's kind of get into the conference championship game. So let's just start on the AFC side because we're kind of talking about that. So, um, Patriots travel to Denver with their backup quarterback. I don't know the line. I assume the Patriots will be
Five and a
favored
half. 5.5 is what I saw.
5.5. All right, so
Which
any
is low, dude. They should be favored by like at least 7. I
The
would put
line
it in.
I
it
have a
opened
different.
at -4.5 and is now -5.5.
Seattle's favored by 2.
Got it. All right, so
You're
any
basically saying Seahawks Rams is a pick 'em.
yeah, pretty much a pick 'em. All right, so Patriots Broncos. Any thoughts on this game? They're actually both
Don't know,
14 and
don't
3.
care. Move on. Dude,
I
it's so dumb because people are going hype on Drake May. I'm like, what the frick has Drake May even done, dude? His offense has created
Yeah,
havoc, has
the
wreaked
Patriots.
havoc on Justin Herbert and on CJ Stroud.
Yeah,
And now
I
that
think
they're going to do
the
the same thing
AFC
to
is just
Stidham.
as the AFC is just not that good. The Bills probably were the best team, and they just kind of had a unlucky game that just didn't go their way.
yeah.
All the
The
games
Pats
I
are going to
watched on the AFC,
yeah,
all the
I'm
games I
walking the
watched
Super
on the AFC side, I'm like, none of these teams look like they could win the Super Bowl.
Oh, the AFC
I mean,
AFC blows.
the Pats are decent at least. They're just, I mean, their defense looks good, I guess. I mean, their defense could be decent. You're right, Corey. You've been saying it. I don't know who's going to put money on the winner of the AFC to have it to like win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually think that like if Drew Lock was playing, Drew Lock, what am I
Bo.
saying?
You
Jameis
Bo
said
Nix.
that.
Winston.
You
Bo
said
Nix,
that
sorry.
earlier, and I was like, who?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
lost.
he looked good. Jameis played well. Or
Yeah,
Bo
I
Nix
would
played well.
I
Jameis
definitely
I want
yeah,
to see
Jameis
Jameis
Winston.
Winston, dude.
Dude, how
I
He's
do
amazing
so
would
too.
that?
off. Dude,
Oh
he'll
my
throw
word!
4
If they,
touchdowns and he'll throw 6 picks.
I know, and he'll
I
be
would
like, "God
tune
is
in
good.
instantly.
I'm so happy."
What a blessing it is.
What a
Oh my
blessing it is
gosh.
that we can
No.
play football on this amazing night.
Yeah, I would love that. All right, so let's just go into kind of predictions for this game then, and then we'll move on to the Rams Seahawks.
I mean, real quick before we do we know anything? Who's their
Who's the
quarterback playing?
dude? It's Stidham.
Jarrett Stidham.
We don't. It's so pointless to
Do
even
we
say.
know anything about him?
Why are we picking
Mike,
Ryan? Is
Mike
anyone
hates.
going to take the Broncos? It's such a waste of time. This isn't a Nick Foles situation, bro.
All right,
Jared
elaborate.
Stidham, Auburn, 2019 pick, round 4. Oh, he was picked by New England. That's fun.
Yeah, he
Bro,
was. He
here's the
Born
only
has.
in
thing I'm going to say on the game.
1996.
Go pick up Jameis Winston. Jameis was just on the Kelsey podcast. The dude is hysterical. He's box office. He's
I love
pure
it.
entertainment, dude. He's
Guys,
going to be all about eating W's. Go ahead.
I pulled up his stats. Apparently, he started in 2023
Mhm.
and his first game was against Miami, and they lost 70-20.
Yeah.
Wow.
70 points? That actually happened? 70-20.
I saw a clip of Jared Stidham highlights, and it was just him on the sidelines. with the headset on.
Can you believe we're watching this guy in the
I was
AFC
like-
Championship? And the AFC has Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, and we're watching Jared Stidham in a home game.
Him against Drake May, dude.
It's pain.
Kind of sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
All right.
not a great product. Should we just move on, Rams Seahawks? I'd rather talk about that.
Okay. All right. I'll make one point. I do think the Broncos covered the spread in this game. I know that's a hot take. But I think at home the Patriots offense just did not look that good to me. And I think
Yeah, they look bad.
if Jared Stidham can just have like a B game for himself, like if he just has 60+% completion percentage, maybe 150 passing yards, and maybe one or two touchdowns, I think they at least cover the spread. But both these teams are getting smacked in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. He
Corey,
wasn't-
any thoughts on that?
I don't know. I just pulled up his college stats. They weren't too bad. His overall, he played 3 years, 1 year at Baylor, 2 years at Auburn.
Talking about
Um,
college? What?
he had 64%
Mike's so
completion,
over it.
48 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions across his 3 years playing.
Oh,
So take that, Mike.
yeah. Could you imagine being a like Josh Allen Bills fan this year? It had to be the most painful loss I've ever
Oh,
seen.
you saw that, and then you're like,
Dude, they're putting their hope in this guy. Are you serious?
he
Dude,
looks great.
yeah, honestly, he looks great.
He
What are you
looks like
talking
a
about?
college student, dude.
Yeah. I mean, he looks like a stud, but
He's 6'3", 215. That's a pretty
the
good size.
Patriots defense does just swarm and wreck you. They did impress me. All right, let's move on. Mike, you had a lot more comments though about Patriots and Broncos. You want to chime in, dude?
No, let's move on.
Okay. All right. All right. So next we have the way better game, NFC Championship. Seattle versus Rams. This is the third time they're meeting this year. Division rivals. This is the best division in football, like I said last week. Um, Seahawks 14-3 hosting the Rams 12-5. Seahawks are 2.5-point underdogs. Core, we'll start with you. What do you think about this game? I know you historically feel confident when you're playing the Seahawks. How does that kind of change in the NFC Championship, or is it just kind of, I don't know, same old, same old?
The Seahawks have played a little better than I expected down the stretch. So
Yeah.
I think if they kind of had a full playoff run and their last game was a little closer, I'd feel more similar to how I typically feel when we're about to play the Seahawks, like
Yep.
honestly fairly confident. I don't feel nervous per se, but I definitely don't have this like booming confidence that the Rams are going to go in and just destroy.
Yep.
I think we're going to see a close game like we did the Rams and the Seahawks last time.
Mm,
Um, I think it's going to be close. I do think the Rams tend to play the Seahawks really well.
yep.
It is honestly probably the best NFC Championship game I think we could have gotten on the NFC side.
You think so? Yeah.
I think so. I can't think like if the Bears would have won right now, I don't know if that would have been as exciting as the Rams versus Seahawks. I think you do have the best two teams in the NFC playing each other right now.
hmm
Panthers Packers though. Ooh,
Yeah, that's a close second, Mike.
No,
but
dude. No. Packers Eagles is the two worst teams, dude.
We're gonna look.
Yeah. Okay. No, yeah. I agree. Mike, any thoughts on this game, just high level?
Yeah, reminder. Cooper Cup rematch again.
Oh yeah.
Former
Good
team.
point.
Um,
He had a good week
fun
last week
fact,
too.
people were like, yo, look at how bad the Eagles are. You know, they could only score 17. This, Seahawks team put up 41. The Eagles had 40 more yards of offense than the Seahawks did, just in case people were wondering. So, again, the point was Seattle's offense didn't really do much. Sam Darnold had 12 completions in this game, 12 for 120 yards. He basically did nothing. What did they do? They created turnovers defensively. They ran the
hmm
ball. They had a special teams touchdown.
That special team touchdown was awesome to start the
yeah,
game.
wait.
It was
How do
electric.
that is so hard for the Niners to come
Yeah,
back from.
yeah, I know.
I mean, you're
Yeah.
already at a deficit with your 100 players injured on your roster,
Yep.
and to start a game off like that, you're just like, we're done. Like this, especially being an away game too. I don't know how you
Yeah.
recover. That would have been tough even for a fully healthy team.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And
again, quick sequence. The Niners started the game with fumble, first two drives. They start the second half with fumble, interception, go for it on downs on their own side of the field. So literally,
Mm,
Seattle got 30 yards field goal, 40 yards touchdown, 30 yards touchdown. So
mm.
Seattle was short field the whole game. So it'll be a different story because the Rams aren't going to turn it over to that extent, and you're not going to get all the short fields from Seattle's offense. So I personally see Darnold doing what he did kind of in the first two games, which he kind of struggles to move the ball. Obviously, he lit it up in the last portion of that last game against the Rams, but it's a revenge game for LA.
Mhm.
So after that collapse in Seattle, That's why if I like had to put, since I was forced to put $100 on it, I would put it on the Rams. I would not put it on Seattle.
Yeah, a couple of things to add to that too. You brought up a lot of times when I see teams have really dominant wins, the next week they come out a little flat. I think that's at risk for the Seahawks that after just destroying the 49ers and all the way to the point where they were resting some guys in the fourth quarter, I've seen more often than not that come back to hurt the team.
Interesting.
Just because it's a
fair.
mental thing. They think they can beat anyone. They just destroyed I think that's at risk here. It has been a close series. I had one person share in my fantasy football Discord that so the Rams and Seahawks, as we know, they're split 1-1 on the year. The points scored, the Rams have scored 58, the Seahawks have scored 57 across those two games, and the Rams have had 830 yards, and the Seahawks had 829 yards in those two games.
Wow.
Yeah.
It is split down the middle.
What's the one big difference we talked about, Corey, that we mentioned, which is fascinating, no matter which angle you want to look at it from?
You think it's special teams or the corners?
No. The turnover differential.
Yes.
Is 7-1.
Yeah.
I think it's 7. Wait.
So it's
Darnold threw 4 picks.
4 in the first, 2 in the second.
But did they fumble in the second too?
I think so.
I just know the turnover battle was crazy different. It was like 7-1.
Yeah, and we've talked about it. It's like for some reason, Darnold versus the Rams, and we saw this last year when he was on the Vikings. He just he's a turnover machine when he plays the Rams. He's just
yeah. I think it comes down to for example, Caleb Williams. I know he had 3 picks, but he does well. He did well against the Rams, I think, because he's so mobile and can move, and the Rams' edges are so fast with Verse and the other guy that Williams can almost match their speed or is right there. Darnold has no shot. He's just slow. So if he ever gets out of the pocket, he just gets destroyed by the Rams' edges. So I think if Seattle can run the ball as effectively, I think they had 4 rushing touchdowns against San Fran. I think that's their key to victory.
So we haven't talked about it though. Did you see who they're missing in this
Charbonnet
game?
Dude, they had Kenneth Walker, dude. He ran for $120 on however many carries. Do they need him there?
I'm not too worried about the Charbonnet loss.
I don't think they really need him. I think Kenneth Walker's their guy.
Charbonnet so I've had Walker on my fantasy all year, and he's always been the second back all year long. He's put up a decent amount of yards, but it's only been recently that he's started to get back into the rhythm. Really was Chardonnay's team the whole year.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So it would be like if you guys lost Kyron Williams and you were
correct
to rely on Blake Quam.
Right. Exactly. So it's not like the end of the world, but it's not. You lose 2 things. First, you lose the Seahawks are always a threat on every down because they're always going to have him or Walker in. But now it's if Walker's not in the game, how much respect are you giving the run at that point?
Yeah. Seattle. But I did think Charbonnet got hurt relatively early, and they had 33 carries for 176 yards, 5.3 average, 3 touchdowns. So I think if they can run like that against the Rams, that's their key to victory.
Yeah, but we're talking 49ers.
Yeah, true.
It's not like they played a team that was healthy. And I don't know. I don't think you would have gotten the same result if they were playing a healthy team. Yeah. Regardless of the Rams. I think if they played the Panthers, I think they would have put up more of a fight.
Yeah. I'm just saying that's the only way I think the Seattle can win this game is if they run it down the Rams' throat. And if the Rams stop the run, there's no way those edges are just gonna wreck them.
Yeah.
I do think the Rams I think they need to win the turnover battle, which I think they will. I think if you were to tell me right now, the turnover battle at the end of the game will be 0-0 or 1-1 or 2-2, and then I had to pick a winner, I would actually take Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
I think it needs to be and I think it will be. I think it'll be 2-0 in turnovers, something like that.
Yeah,
maybe 3-1. And so I think the Rams creating turnovers, which they did the last 2 weeks, I think their defense creating turnovers is going to play a big role in the game, just like it did in the first two.
Yeah. All right, perfect. All right, so we're coming up on time, so let's do predictions for this game at least. Or we'll start with you because this is your team.
Is anyone going with something different? Corey or Ryan, got to go different, bro.
Okay.
Rams, of course, for me.
Because
Mike, you?
Yeah, I got to stick Rams. I actually have a push-up bet with 3 other dudes at the office. At the start of the playoffs, we all had to take a team to out of the NFC to make it to the Super Bowl. So I took Rams. My front desk guy took Bears. One of my therapists took Seahawks, and one of the guys took Eagles. So it's down to 2 of us
Who
now.
took the Eagles?
Christian, who's a diehard.
Oh,
Eagles.
okay.
He can't
Christian.
help himself.
All good. If it was Nate,
Yeah.
I was
No,
going to text him right
Nate
now.
has the Seahawks. Nate has the Seahawks. He was sticking with them the whole way. So, but yeah, so it's down to Nate and I to decide. The other 3 guys have to do 100 push-ups, whichever one of us wins.
Who did Bryson pick?
He's not involved because he's just not the sports. It's so not his thing.
He's like the Phillies.
He goes on, or this was the Sunday the Eagles lost. He goes on Sundays now. My wife's always like, why is your phone? Like, who's texting you? And it's our group about the game. And he's like, yeah, I'm in this stupid group chat. And so now his phone gets lit up every Sunday.
Dude, that's so funny. But yeah, I'll end it. I'll pick Seattle. Somewhat to be different, but I do think that they can win this game, obviously. And I think it's a coin flip, so I'm gonna just go Seattle.
Nice. Giving up his lead.
Yeah. Hey,
dude, he's been spot on.
Yeah.
come on.
It's been a good season.
That wraps up this week's episode of Coast to Coast Sports. Make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and share the show with a fellow football fan. From Philly to LA and around the league, we'll be back next week with more sports talk.